Everybody. Welcome into the Basketball Bulletin. Jumping back on here, we got a little cut short earlier today by what an insane day it's been around the NBA. I'm just now getting a moment to catch my breath. Donnie Freeman's going to be jumping on in just a moment as well. We've got a lot to talk about, but of course, any news that happens while we're live here, we'll be breaking it down. And we did get just a little bit of news here just a moment ago, and that is Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, according to Chris Haynes, is on the verge of getting out of Memphis. Now, what that's ultimately going to look like, is this going to be KCP waived? Is this going to be a trade one way or another? Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, will be leaving the Memphis Grizzlies. Chris Haynes saying KCP is on the verge of working out a parting resolution. He could be traded or become a free agent relatively soon. So, if he becomes a free agent, then he's out there on the market for any team to come in and get, especially if this is a buyout a la DeAndre Ayton last year, Marcus Smart last year, a number of other players last year. This would give a team the possibility to come in with a below market value deal and know that he's still getting paid on his Grizzlies salary, and you can add him without having to pay a fortune to go and get him. KCP is under contract this year for $21.6 million. And if it's a trade, I'm curious what they could get back. Here's the thing: I know a lot of Lakers fans are going to say, "Oh, KCP, he's great. Go get him." He has not been the KCP that you remember in a little bit now. There's a reason why the Orlando Magic parted with him when he was there. After signing him, just wasn't really working out there, and he's not really bounced back at this point. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, 33 years old right now. This past season shot 32% from three, and I'm rounding up to get there, 8.4 points, a far cry from what he was during his heyday as a Los Angeles Laker when he won the championship, and he was certainly helping out on the defensive side of the ball. So I would not be like jumping for joy here if you're a Lakers fan or a fan of any other team thinking, hey, this is a significant defensive guard that we're going to get into the rotation that's also a sniper. That's what he was at his best, but that's not been the KCP of old. In fact, he's been more of an old KCP. Could he fill in somebody's roster as like a 15-minute off the bench type of guy? Yeah, I think he could do that, but I wouldn't look at him as like a solution in terms of a wing and or perimeter defender for Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. But joining me, it's Donnie Freeman. Donnie, how you doing?
Doing pretty good, man. Yourself?
Man, my head is spinning. It's been a day. It has been an insane day. I love this league, man. There's always something crazy going on. And who knows what's even going to happen while we're talking here, but it's been an absolutely wild day. I had so much to break down. I went live this morning just with the stuff that had happened overnight. Mm-hmm. And then from there, all hell broke loose. And Rob Pelinka emerged from his slumber and started flinging player options all over the place and getting deals done. It was madness.
That was a hell of a 10 minutes. It was just boom. Okay, that's awesome. Boom. What the? Boom.
I was right here on Bulletin talking about it, about how, okay, the Walker Kessler thing broke, and we went, whoa, okay, this means, though, the floodgate's going to open. Some other stuff is going to happen. It reminded me a little bit of when Kawhi Leonard told the Lakers no back in 2019, and then within 30 minutes, whatever it was, it felt like it was an instant. Like a bunch of deals went boom, 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 came through. It was like Danny Green and Quinn Cook and all those types of players. So pretty unreal stuff by the Lakers today, just getting one deal done after another. I don't particularly love the deals that they made. I like the players, don't particularly love the deals, but they went from the sleeping giant to kind of standing on the sideline to very quickly roaring to life and getting a bunch of things done, and I'm sure we'll have plenty of time to talk about them throughout the course of this show.
Yeah. Did you have you? I assume you have, but not liking it. I assume that's an unpopular opinion. Have you been getting a lot of pushback
from Lakers fans?
Yeah.
No,
actually, okay, no. That's cool.
I've had a lot of Lakers fans that have agreed. Now, I have had some people say, I am being too pessimistic. I'm being too negative.
Hmm.
And I'm trying to make sure I separate these things, right? Because I like the players they received. I like the players they got in a vacuum. I have questions about their fit. They don't have a starting level wing right now. That's a problem. I've got questions about how I like the players in a vacuum. I have questions about their fit. I don't like the deals. I didn't see anything that went, wow, the Lakers negotiated the hell out of that. That's a great value. Every player, even the Walker Kessler trade itself, I don't have a problem with Walker Kessler's contract. The trade itself, then the contracts for Grimes, Mamukelashvili, Colin Sexton, all three of those guys, I went, that was pretty much their ceiling of what I thought they would get. And then on top of that, a player option got thrown in. Again, like the players, question about the value of the contracts, and then the overall fit, which is still up in the air.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can generally agree with you. I said it last time we were on the show, or one of the last times. It's all blurring together. I want somebody to love me the way Rob loves player options, man. Did he give everybody a player option?
They all got them. I mean, literally every player got a player option as though it was like a party favor. You know what I mean? Like,
you get a player option. You get
your player option at the door.
Man, I think what it is that since he's a former agent, he knows exactly what to do to grease the wheels, man. He's like, okay, well, I'll give you this and this. Okay, well, that's not okay. How about a player option?
My thought though is, okay, $60 million.
Yeah, that should be
for Quentin Grimes, $53 million for Sandro Mamukelashvili. Like, were they saying no if the player option wasn't on that? Was that what pushed them over the top and that got the deal done? That to me doesn't have the ring of truth, Donnie. For me, I'm wondering, why is the player option in there? Like, were there multiple teams willing to give them that? And then the Lakers said, wait, we'll give you a player option just to get it done. I have a hard time believing that.
Yeah. With him, I wonder with how he negotiates. Does he lead with like such a low offer that he has to? Because that's kind of the reporting around the Austin thing. It's like, led with such a low offer. It's like, okay, well, actually, now you pissed us off. Give us a player option. Does he always do that? Or like, what's happening here? Or maybe it's because maybe we saw something similar in 2020 where because the players waited, they got a little bit more or other things were thrown into there. Maybe that was a thing. But I struggle to either way. Like, I still kind of struggle to see where they were getting all this money from, generally speaking, anyway. I think they all, like you said, got the ceiling of what they could get realistically. So, and it's also interesting when you look at the other teams' deals in what they got and the players that they got for said deals.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like a lot of teams got very good value deals. The Lakers kind of got guys at the premium or, again, the ceiling of what they could get. But that being said, I like the additions that they got. I thought these are guys that fit in pretty good. You are correct. There are some concerns. I don't think there's a starting wing on this roster. I have concerns about the aggregate foot speed of this roster, particularly in the front court. Perimeter defense, I think, could be a concern too with this team. I know that Austin and Luka don't get enough credit for that side of the court, particularly Luka, actually. But I don't think that the other guys they brought in are going to be stalwarts there, particularly with losing Marcus Smart as well, who was your best defensive player there. And JJ is not going to play a guy like Vando. So really, who are you deploying on the best perimeter players on the other team? And then aside from that, I think with Walker Kessler, he legitimately could be and has been up to now statistically one of the best rim protectors in the NBA. But I think that's a lot of pressure on him to be healthy and be available for this team to anchor said defense. Because I see the offense. I think they're going to be a great offense. Agreed. But that's inherent with Luka, especially, the other pieces around him. But I am a little bit questioning that side of things.
They're going to be, I think, a very, very fun offensive team. As far as, the question that I've got here is, did the Lakers make a mistake or a huge mistake? I look at these contracts that they signed or they agreed to, and I think they need all these guys to hit. Like, these could go negative if they don't. And, I think there's plenty of upside with Quentin Grimes. He already has a history with Luka Doncic, played with him. He was a sought-after player on the market. You paid him top dollar. Sandro Mamukelashvili, I think you can make a real argument, is actually an upgrade from Rui Hachimura. I know most Lakers fans wouldn't agree because Rui just went full laser mode in the playoffs, but I think Mamukelashvili has real utility as a player, and I am very thankful that he has a last name that I can use as a 3 pun. So if I lost Hotch 3 Mura, at least I pick up Mamukalish 3 lead. These things are important.
What's your Colin one? What's the Colin one?
Oh man, I'm gonna have to toe the line on that.
I was gonna say that one. So you're gonna have to think about that one long and hard.
Don't say that. That is not the way to put it.
Oh, pause. Oh no.
Oh no.
Anyway, if Grimes is easy. It's just a 3 instead of the E.
Yeah, exactly. The Sexton, is it his name's already Sexton. If he hits a 3, is it a threesome?
God damn. Every time I come on, this type of stuff happens.
I can't.
All in threesome.
I don't know. I can't.
That's flying in the chat too. Oh my god.
Oh no. Oh no. So
I think Mamu is the more versatile player, and I don't really think that's debatable.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. So I like them for that regard, but I think they're all going to need to hit. And the same is true with Walker Kessler, who is this is a risk. All your future draft capital for him. But I said it before, Donnie. I can't tell you how many times I went back and forth. Am I crazy to prefer Walker Kessler over Jalen Duren when Walker Kessler played 5 games last year and Jalen Duren was 3rd team All NBA and an All-Star? And maybe it could wind up being that I am, but I love the defensive skill set. My only concern is that now with the way this roster is built, that it's going to effectively come down to. It reminds me a lot of the 2022 Lakers roster with Frank Vogel, where effectively they were this, roster full of players who don't defend very well. And then Rob Pelinka basically turned to Frank Vogel and went, "You're a good defensive coach. You can solve this problem." It's like, Walker Kessler, you're a good defensive player. You're a great rim protector. Nobody in front of you can defend, but you'll take care of it, right? Like, you're asking Walker Kessler to solve everything. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Well, if this was the plan, I certainly feel much better with Kessler there instead of Duren.
Oh, for sure. Better than Duren. Kessler is much better rim protector than Duren. There's no question there.
Yeah, I think if that was the plan, is we're going to get this type of roster build and then ask the center to be able to clean it up, then this not even close. Walker's the better player to have in that spot.
I do think as well that that DeAndre Ayton, I love him slotted in as a backup. And with the news that we just got that Jackson Hayes is ironically heading to the Utah Jazz.
They just love 7-footers. They cannot help themselves.
They can't help themselves. DeAndre Ayton now slots in as the backup center for the Lakers. For the Jazz, they get Jackson Hayes on a 2-year, $12 million deal with a player option on the second. Oh, wait. What? What's that word?
If he was a Laker, he would have got a player option right there.
You can do that? A team option?
Oh my God.
That's allowed?
Rob.
I didn't know you could do that. Anyway, Jackson Hayes, a 2-year, $12 million deal, but that's only $6 million per. That's exactly what I priced him in at. Remember I said a few weeks ago, I thought he was going to get the Jake LaRavia contract, which is 2 years, $12 million. That's exactly what he got. But even better, he got a team option on the deal. And unfortunate for the Lakers because Jackson Hayes has legitimate lob chemistry with Luka. They have a mind meld. That's why Jackson is an honorary Slovenian now and playing for Slovenia. But that's a great deal for the Utah Jazz. Total protection too on it, because worst case scenario, it doesn't work out. Okay, you're out $6 million and you move on from next summer. That's a great job protecting themselves, just as the Houston Rockets did. I talked about this deal already this morning, but the Houston Rockets, the price they paid for Marcus Smart who is certainly a more valuable player than Jackson Hayes. 2 years, 13-ish, maybe 13 and a half or so million. Maybe it was 13 straight up. But anyway, you're already baking in his injury risk into that price with a contract value. So giving him a player option on that is not a big deal because you've already baked it in that if he does happen to pick it up, well, it was still worth the gamble. If he's injured and he picks up that option, it's not going to be the end of the world. Whereas with Jackson Hayes, not as valuable of a player as Marcus Smart, if they're both healthy and everything. And so it's a team option. And if it doesn't work out, you protect yourself against having to pay that $6 million. These are sensible things that these teams are doing.
Yeah, I think if you look at every team's roster, the Lakers have to be among the bottom in terms of teams, amount of team options on the roster. They've got to be towards the bottom because they don't have any of those ever.
It's all green.
The only time they get those is when they draft a player. And
by green, I mean the spot track color. Yeah. Player option, player option, player option, player option, player option, player option. Like down the. And why?
Yeah.
And Sexton has one, but it's not reflected on spot track yet. That is a player option.
Okay.
From the reporting. We'll see when the official contract comes through. But wow.
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting pickup for them, though. It's a good pickup. But, you said you like DA on that value. I do in theory, but you're asking him to play a role that he's, never played before? And he's also sometimes dealt with, motor issues and sometimes can be a bit moody. So how is he going to feel playing that role? That remains to be seen. I think that's something that matters a lot. But I'd have to imagine that since he shares an agency with Luka, they're probably telling him, hey, dude, this is what's best for you right now. Like, you're still on a team with Luka. You can still get paid. Go out there, be on your best behavior, and ball out. And then
the final year of a contract, too.
Yeah. Worst comes to worst. Maybe they trade him and he winds up in a better spot to get paid. But for now, I think that's a good role for him on this team. 15, 20 minutes. I mean, how many minutes is Walker really going to play? Like 28, 30? There's still a good bit of center minutes left.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I think that's one of the strengths of the Lakers right now. We'll move on to some of our other teams and topics in just a moment here. We got to talk about Tobias Harris and the Spurs. That's a great deal, but there's something strange is happening there. We need to talk about it. But this is DeAndre Ayton being in the backup role. I think the center / backup center combo for LA is probably one of the best in the NBA now. Went from a weakness to a strength if they can stay healthy. Walker Kessler and DeAndre Ayton. Again, mentally, you're absolutely right, Donnie. DA has got to buy into that backup role, and that'll certainly be a question whether or not he's willing to do that. If he is, and he buys into it, he gets into that Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee mindset of I'm screening, I'm rolling hard to the basket. I don't care how many minutes I play. I don't care how many touches I get. And we don't know if that's going to be a thing with him or not. We saw that from him last year. We also saw him say, I'm not Clint Capella last year and get upset with his role. So will he be accepting of this? I don't know, but I'll tell you this. If he is upset with it, $8.1 million is a fine value. I have zero problems with that contract. And given the lack of options on the center market right now, I have a feeling that would be a very easy deal to move if the Lakers do choose to do that. But for the time being, I think they have one of the better center combos in the NBA between Walker Kessler and DeAndre Ayton.
I agree with you, again, in theory. But did they insulate themselves enough, also losing Jackson, around potential things that could arise? Walker injuries, DeAndre Ayton up and down. Maybe somebody else gets hurt because all of a sudden it's just those two and Mamu as a 5, unless they want to play some small ball with I don't know who at the 5, Vando. There's not a lot really there. So,
no, that's not correct. That is incorrect, Donna. You are. I don't know how you're doing this, but you are forgetting somebody that's on this Lakers roster.
Don't do it. Who is it?
How are you forgetting?
Who am I forgetting?
You are forgetting the great.
Oh, I already see it loaded. Oh my God.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Milt Chamberlain.
Oh my God. Hey man, he fit right in.
He's on an Exhibit 10 deal, so he is not expected to actually make the team. But
he's bringing the cream.
All right, so Oh no. He can't be on the floor with Colin Sexton. We'll wind up in way too much trouble. All right, so the last thing on the Lakers, then we'll really move on. Now their goal is to land a wing. Right now they like I said, they don't have a starting caliber NBA wing, particularly more of a 4 than a 3, but a 3-4 would work. Adu Thero is going to get all kinds of opportunities. I think that we're also going to see Cameron Carr get early opportunities as well. JJ Redick has no choice. There's not the athleticism on the roster nor the positional depth to not play those guys. They're going to have to get opportunities from the get-go. But I also think as the market settles and we see some of the wings start to stay out there, the Lakers are going to be an attractive option because they can offer an immediate day one, potentially starting role on the Lakers. And I've been critical of them for picking up veterans on like 1-year deals and that player just rehabbing his value in LA, using the spotlight and then bailing. But this is a situation where you could get somebody that is starting to slip through the cracks and say, you know what, you may not get the money, you may not get the years you want, but we've got all the opportunity you can ask for. Come on over. And we'll see who that can be. There's some names that, Matisse Thybulle's not a starter, but if there's somebody still out there that's available, ironically, you know who would make a lot of sense on this roster?
Who?
LeBron James.
Yeah, this roster would fit in pretty good, ironically.
Yeah.
This roster is actually built around his strengths. That's his strengths and his skill set very well. But I'm not, it is what it is. But ideally, like a 36-year-old LeBron on this roster would be really good. He'd be cooking. But either way, though, like what they currently have. But I just wanted to address this really quick. Vando is our wing. So go tell JJ that because, firstly, he's a small ball 5 on this roster. He's not a wing on this roster. And secondly, JJ does not play him at all. JJ will go grab literally anybody. He'll go grab a guy off the street before he puts Vando in the game. So that's not.
So, look, is that how Robbie Avila made it? he just grabbed. No, Robbie Avila is actually a really fun player. I'm excited to see him in Summer League. But this is something where I think Jared Vanderbilt actually makes more sense on this team now than he did previously, because everybody, like, there's a world where he plays out there with Mamu, and then you've got shooting all around him. So there is more a path, I think, to playing time for Jared Vanderbilt, but I think JJ Redick has made his thoughts on Vando very well known. And if I look at him as a wave and stretch candidate that could be used to open up some spending power to go chase somebody else out there. You know who it's going to be?
Who?
Jonathan Kuminga.
Yeah. He would kind of fit in.
But
he would kind of fit into that slot and play a athletic wing, but he's also another guy that's a spotty defender. Kind of is what it is. But there's not a lot of, you're not going to go out and get a lot of 3-and-D guys that are going to be your perfect fit there. The key thing that they should be looking forward to doing is if you could find that guy via trade or something great, if you could find that guy via trade in season, even better. But if you could find that guy next summer, that'd be one of the things that's on your checklist to do going into next season. Teams don't, generally speaking, build a championship team in one off season. There's a lot of turnover. You need to build it all out. So I think they've taken the right steps in the right direction. But for now, I would expect a lot of, 3 and 4 guard lineups out there. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Ron Gutterman was making the point earlier today that, you check the box of landing the long-term center. Now next summer, you've got and nobody wants to hear next summer, but you add whatever you can on the wing, add everything that you can, go all in, make sure you have as much chance to win right now as you can. And then you go next summer and you really try to find the long-term fit on the wing with your taxpayer or your full mid-level exception.
Yeah, that'd be really good. But like I said, there's going to be a lot of Grimes at the 3 and all that.
Get grimy.
Oh my God! I'm telling you, Darvin Ham was ahead of schedule, man. He could coach in this current NBA where everybody's doing 3 and 4 guard lineups. He was just ahead of schedule. He was a visionary. He was a visionary, man. He had the blueprint before anybody else did.
He knew it. He just said you got to stop living and dying with every game, and then And then when I got the blueprint, I know what's going to happen.
Just put out there with Pat Beverly. We got it.
Pat Bev is a wing now. Maybe in today's league, he actually is. So we've got Tobias Harris going to the San Antonio Spurs. Great pickup. But I do think one of the things that's really interesting here, $31 million deal, 2-year deal. Word has been out that the San Antonio Spurs outright refused to do anything longer than a 2-year deal with any of the free agents they were targeting. So we look at, why weren't they landing spots for some of these other guys that ultimately went? Well, they like, for example, Dean Wade. Why didn't they wind up getting Dean Wade? Well, he got more than 2 years. They wanted to only do 2 years. So why is that? And I guess first, before we get to that, what do you think about Tobias Harris in San Antonio?
Oh, that's a great fit.
Yeah.
Another veteran guy that can shoot the ball out there. He's going to fit right in. Perfect. No questions about that. As long as he's obviously not hit that age cliff, he's going to be a really good fit for him. But they could get off that contract if necessary. I'm actually more surprised they didn't get Rui. But I think you could argue Tobias is a better player, so I'm not really...
I wonder if the 2-year thing... Now, Detroit could still land Rui because they're going to do a sign and trade for John Collins. Mm-hmm. But, and we've also heard the Nets connected to Rui. I don't know if that'll still be a thing or not.
Mm-hmm.
The Nets have landed a few players today. I'm trying to remember who the wing was that they landed today. Oh, no, they got Mo Wagner, and then they added Keon Ellis, so they haven't added their wing yet. So they could still get Rui Hachimura. That's something to keep an eye on. For anybody asking, no, I don't think he's coming back to the Lakers. I think that ship has sailed. They don't have enough flexibility to go add him. Nor do I think he is nearly as good of a fit anymore with this current team. But I like Tobias Harris. The Spurs needed more veteran experience. De'Aaron Fox was obviously not enough. And so they get Tobias, who did really well with the Detroit Pistons last year. Tobias on this deal, I have no problems with. You brought back Harrison Barnes as well. Once again, veteran experience there. But you look at what's going to happen. Why were the Spurs so dead set on only doing 2 years? Well, you've got Wemby, who's going to, starting next year, he's going to get the extension this summer. Starting next season, he'll be making what he should be making. He'll be making that, 42-ish or more $1 million, and they'll be happy to pay him that. But then you're still going to have Devin Vassell, De'Aaron Fox still under contract. That's a lot of money. And then suddenly you're going to get to a spot where, Dylan Harper's extension is going to kick in too. So the Spurs are trying to keep flexibility here for this 2028, 2029 offseason, because that's when suddenly you're going to have Wemby, De'Aaron Fox still on your books, and Steph Castle potentially hitting a max salary. Dylan Harper will be cheap relative to his production, but still at $17 million. So they got to be really careful. This is where they're going to have 3 maxes on their books potentially, and one of them is not the fun max. The De'Aaron Fox max is no fun at all. So that's where the Spurs really have to be careful with things. It's also worth noting, and I'm not saying this would happen, but that's when Luka could become a free agent. So it's one thing to watch around the NBA. Do teams try to keep their books clear for 2028 to see if there's a possibility to make a run? But I think this is more about just trying to make sure, hey, when Castle, Fox, and Wemby are all going to be making big money, we've got as much flexibility as possible. So we're not going to go past a 2-year deal right now. They get it done with Tobias Harris.
Yeah, and so you're saying you think that's also largely kept Rui off the team, trying to get more years?
Potentially. Yeah, I think that could be, if Rui's looking for more of a long-term deal. Yeah, if you're the Spurs and you say Rui will give you 2 years and Rui says, no, I want 3, you just turn to Tobias Harris and you're fine. And Tobias says, okay, I'll be open to 2. Great, done deal.
Yeah. But if you're Rui, you also look at Mamu's deal like, I could get something like that, Mm-hmm. In fact, again, we talked about Mamu being more versatile than Rui. In fact, if that offer was out there, I'm surprised they didn't just offer that to Rui just to keep the continuity.
Mm-hmm.
So
that I actually like Mamu a little bit better than Rui, but for continuity's sake, I agree that there's a world where maybe you just don't go with Rui if he was willing to do that. But if you're Rui, that's a starting $5 million pay cut off of where you were at before.
Yeah, it is.
That does hurt a little bit.
But it does, unless he had something else lined up, then the best you can get is the best you can get. Is there a possibility he still can get signed and traded or something?
No, because the Lakers don't have the cap space to sign and trade him. Yeah, unless I guess they were to execute it and just trade him into somebody else's cap space, to where then they would still have flexibility there, like not take back any salary.
Yeah.
Or if they were to take back, like, let's say they waive and stretch Vando, and you were to trade Rui in a sign and trade for a player that makes $7 million ish, then you could bring that player in and still have the flexibility to make your other moves. So I guess that would be the path. So it could happen. It just, your order of operations would be important in that.
Yeah, makes sense.
This comment said there's no way in hell Lakers are going to lose Luka in free agency. Stop it, Trevor. Oh, I didn't say they were going to. Just said if you're an opposing team and you know there's the possibility that whether it's Luka or any of the other players out there, Jokic, right? Are there teams that are eyeing 2027 just in case? Yeah. You just don't want, if the opportunity suddenly becomes there, whether you think it's likely or not, you never know what's going to happen in this crazy league of ours. If you're the Spurs and there's the opportunity for that to happen, you got to at least be prepared for it. Because if it arrives and you're not prepared for it, you can't capitalize. That's the whole thing.
And that's nothing new. The Vultures are always waiting. They're always waiting for any opportunity. And they will be there. If he decides that he wants to not get extended, and if he's on the market, teams will have space available. If he's a free agent, teams will have assets available. If there needs to be a trade done, teams are ready. And they do that for all the stars. It's not just Luka.
Yep. You always got to keep an eye out because those are the guys that are the needle movers. All right, let's talk about Kelly Oubre going to the Indiana Pacers. The Pacers are very much a team that wants to bounce back this season, that only wanted to have 1 year down. In fact, they got hit with a charge for tanking. This is a team that they are part of the reason for the rule changes that we've got in the NBA now. The anti-tanking policy is in part due to the Indiana Pacers. The NBA doesn't want a team to just sink down to the bottom, spend 1 year, get a high draft pick, and then move back up. From the NBA's perspective, probably a little bit of I don't know, comeuppance, I suppose, in that they lost their pick to the Clippers. They didn't get their pick anyway. They did get Ivica Zubac though. You're going to have Halliburton coming back, and now you add a pretty good wing, $17 million deal over 2 years. That's pretty good value there, I think, for Kelly Oubre, who did pretty well with the 76ers.
Yeah, he had I believe, career best season shooting the ball last season, 36%. He's a guy that'll put up a bunch of shots. He's not the most efficient or best shooter, but he kind of, if you don't watch him enough or don't keep up with him, he kind of looks like he's supposed to be like some sort of sniper because he can get pretty hot. But he shot 36% on 4 or 5 attempts, I believe, last season. But historically, he's not
just
been
under
a great
5.
shooter.
Yep.
Yeah, historically not been a great shooter, but I do like him as a slashing option, somebody that can attack some closeouts and just play off of Tyrese. I think he's going to get him a lot of good looks. Speaking of Tyrese, have you seen that he is now back in shape and he looks ready to go, man?
I didn't see that. That's great. Yeah, I know he was dealing with some health issues. Do you recall what was it that happened to him again?
I don't, and I don't want to.
Is it like shingles or something?
It was something like that, but he put on a lot of weight. Yeah, I don't want to speculate, but he put on a lot of weight and he's back in shape and he looks like he's ready to go. I think the Pacers are going to be obviously one of the best teams and factor in a big way. But I like this addition. It doesn't cost them a ton either, and I think if they need to, they can still move this deal. But he's a good pickup for them for sure. Had a good season in Philly.
Yeah, it really. Oh, it was shingles. There we go. I was right. So, look, he had a good season. Wing players are difficult to find. He's a guy that selfishly I was hoping, okay, if the Lakers waive and stretch Jared Vanderbilt, maybe they could get Oubre in for $7 million or something like that. But look, this is I think this is a solid signing for the Pacers. Now you add him to Nembhard, to Nesmith, Halliburton, Siakam, Zubac. I mean, you've got this is depth for the Pacers. This is another wing in a team in a league that absolutely needs them. And Indiana, man, if Hallie gets back to being Hallie, they're going to be ready to roll this coming season.
Oh, hell yeah. He's one of my favorite players to watch because there's not it's not a lot of guys in the NBA that are those pass first type point guards. I love watching
that play his style too, like that kind of herky jerky game.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's such a fun player and I'm excited to see what this team could do next year.
Yeah, I believe they did guarantee the contract of Micah Potter as well. I'll have to go back and look, but in all the shuffle that may have been missed. But this is going to be an exciting Pacers team for sure. All right, last news bit, and then we're going to get into the chat. Donnie, this was a thing for like 3 minutes.
Yeah. To be honest, I didn't even see this. I didn't. This one flew by in my notifications because the Walker thing popped up, and I didn't know this even happened.
It got completely eclipsed by. We were talking about it live here on Bulletin. It got completely eclipsed by the Walker Kessler news. As soon as that happened, nobody even knew what had happened with Mitch Robinson or that he was gone, at least especially outside of the LA sphere. But I'm sure people in Boston and people in New York probably knew about it. But the Walker Kessler deal, in fact, I don't have the exact time that Shams tweeted out, but basically Mitch Robinson didn't even get his 15 minutes of fame. He got like 3 minutes tops, and then the Walker Kessler deal was announced, and that was that. But the Celtics got Mitch Robinson 3 years, $47.4 million plus a player option. Hey, look at that. Another team giving out a player option in the final season. So that's a lot of guaranteed money for a guy that's got a long-term injury history. And honestly, Donnie, like when I see this deal, first of all, I don't think this is a bad deal. As long as Mitch Robinson stays healthy, this is a fine deal, and it gives the Celtics some serious physicality in the paint. Mm-hmm. But when I compare this to, say, Rob Williams, who honestly I think I actually like a little bit better, and the way that contract is protected for the Blazers, Rob Williams has a bit more of an extensive injury history than Mitch Robinson, but it's not like Mitch Robinson has been the healthiest dude. I kind of like what the Blazers did with Rob Williams over the guarantees that are in this deal. This is 3 straight years and a player option at the end of it for Boston.
Yeah. It felt like they paid a premium for him in this scenario, because I don't know that he could get that mostly anywhere. But I will say that, to be fair, the centers this free agency have been getting bags. Like, I looked at Zach Collins, I'm like, man, he's good. That's a decent deal. But I just think this is, and Nurkic, I think all these guys, Londale, this is just a product of how big starved all these teams are. But for Mitch, he was arguably the best center on the market. That wasn't, Walker or Duran or RFA guys. And so getting him, I think that's a really big pickup for Boston. Like you said, they get some more physicality, interior rim protection. They also get a guy that's one of the best offensive rebounders probably ever. So that's a good pickup for them too. With as much as they like to shoot threes, and they're going to get a lot of second chance.
You need somebody to rebound them.
Got to do it, man. So they're going to get a lot of opportunities there. It's just more or less managing him, his health, and his availability. And aside from that, just they've got some other bigs on the roster that I do like, but have you insulated him as well?
So Rob Williams got 3 years, $44 million. Mitch Robinson got 3 years, $47 million. So very, very similar contracts. We're talking about $3 million over the life of the deal. That's nothing, whatever. Very similar deals. Difference being Mitch Robinson has 3 years fully guaranteed, essentially. And the third year is even a player option. So if he stays healthy and outperforms it, he can bounce. Meanwhile, we go look at what Rob Williams got, and he got 3 years. Second year is only $5 million guaranteed, and then the third year is completely non-guaranteed.
Oh, that's what.
So, and he's got some games played bonuses or numbers that he has to hit in there. So there's a lot of protection in there for Portland. But again, it's an eye of the beholder thing. I'm a Rob Williams fan, so I really appreciate his game. I think that. Some people, I think the majority would probably say they would rather have Mitch Robinson than Rob Williams. I'm probably in the minority to have that flipped. And plus coming off of a championship and playing the role that he did for the Knicks compared to Rob Williams on a Blazers team that didn't go particularly far, I get why Mitch Robinson would get the money that he got here. It's just interesting, the two injury-prone bigs, kind of where those deals ultimately landed.
It's because, like I said, teams need bigs right now, man. There's a premium on those guys. They don't even care. They're just, we'll pay you. It doesn't matter if you are big and you can play. There's a spot for you on a roster right now. Speaking of the Knicks, James Dolan was not playing. He was dead serious. He was dead serious.
We thought he was kidding.
Yeah, we did. We thought he misspoke. Like he didn't understand exactly what that entailed, but he was serious.
He said second apron? Hell no. We're not going there.
And
We're
I
not
think
going
this is
into the second apron.
I think this is a big loss for them, actually. Like they arguably had, we talked about the best starter backup. They probably had that prior. So
who's you're right. I think that's a great point. Who do they go for now?
I have no clue, man. I got to look at who's out there. But didn't Huck Gordy also get signed too?
Yes, he did. I think I want to say it's escaping. It was in the chaos.
Yeah. But they're not losing sleep over that, though. But
Okay, so here's some options. Jalen Duren, he's either going to Sacramento or he's staying in Detroit. Now that the Lakers are off the board, we know it's one of those two. Kevon Looney, Andre Drummond, Nick Richards.
Ooh.
Any of those three, I think, would be respect. They all have their own pluses and minuses, but Kevon Looney, especially, is a monster on the boards. Drummond is as well. Nick Richards is just okay about everything, but maybe stylistically is closer to Mitch.
I think actually Drummond is the best approximation of Mitch
because of the way he can rebound.
Yeah. And you can bring in you can also bring him in as a bit of a floor spacer. He's been doing that a little bit too from the corners. That could be a nice little element. But he was also saying earlier today he's done taking pay cuts. I don't know what that means, but that may mean that he's out of their price range. So.
He's done taking pay cuts.
Yeah, I don't know what that means, but he again may be out of their price range.
What was the deal he was on? Wasn't it like $6 million or something? I'm not. I'm double checking. No, it's $5 million. How much of a pay cut is that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess to me, I think, well, if I'm Andre Drummond, I'm looking at what Jackson Hayes just got and thinking, well, I should at least get that. Yeah. And that's fair. That's not, but I'm also not looking at what Mitch Robinson got and thinking I deserve that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. But otherwise, I think Kevon Looney, veteran presence, been on championship teams, can play the role for you. I think he'd be a good pickup for cheap.
The little bit of minor breaking news here. The Lakers just announced their summer league schedule and roster. They just informed me.
Is Bronny on there?
I will let me tweet this out real quick, and then I will and then I'll share it with everybody so we can see it. They just sent it to me a second ago. So let's get this thing out there. And then we'll go from there. Summer League, I'm excited for this. I'm excited for Summer League and all that entails. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Okay.
You're excited for Kareem.
For Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Let's go. I hope they have the televised schedule on here too. It's their Summer League schedule. Sorry, this is a great show. I know. Watching me tweet here. Lakers just announced their Summer League schedule and roster. Boom, boom, boom. And out there. Okay. So let's take a look at this. Just because I know I'm sure we have a lot of Lakers fans in here. We can take a look at what the Summer League roster is, the schedule, and all of that. Well, yeah, it's not showing up yet. If you notice, X has been ultra slow lately.
I have not.
Just with all this stuff.
I have not.
There it is. That's why I got an error message as to why. That's why it didn't go out yet. Adu Thuro is on the Summer League roster. Okay. Apologies, everybody. Thank you for bearing with me for a moment there. Here it is. Summer League roster is Robbie Avila, Cameron Carr, the draft pick they got with 24th pick, John Elmore, Luke Good, William Hickey, Arthur Kaluma. He did some things for them last year. William Kyle III, absolute pogo stick of a leaper, quick leaper, dunk specialist. Between Adu Thuro, Cameron Carr, and William Kyle III, my God, they're going to throw down some dunks. Chris Magnon, Robert McRae, A.K. Okereke, AK. Let's go. Zaire Smith, Chase Ross, Peter Suter, who's also on a two-way contract, Adu Thero, Anton Watson, Jakari White. Donnie, there's one name here that is missing.
I actually wanted to see Bronny on this team, even though I know he probably wouldn't be. But I know who you're saying. It's Dalton Connect. You wanted Dalton in no matter what. They both could have been on this just to get them some extra burn, man.
By the way, the Lakers do have some play at the California Classic Summer League as well. But yes, I wanted to see, and that I think starts day after tomorrow. I got to go check that out. But I was hoping that Dalton Connect would be on this. It's not the norm for a third-year player to play, but I would prefer to see him out there and getting some minutes. Okay, here it is, the California Classic schedule as well. They also released. Haven't said where those are going to be televised just yet, the California Classic games, or if they're going to be. So July 3rd, they take on the Warriors, then the Miami Heat, and then the San Antonio Spurs in the California Classic. And you got a back-to-back there, July 5th and July 6th. And then heading to Vegas for Summer League, they take on OKC. I like that it's a back-to-back, the 10th and the 11th. You get OKC, the Mavs on the 11th, and then the 14th, they get the Clippers. The 16th, the Chicago Bulls. And then 17th through 19th, we don't know when they're going to. It depends on how they do in the other games. That'll determine what they do in the tournament.
Yeah. It's cool.
So that's where we're at.
That's
on this roster.
Baby.
Yeah, it's right here. We've got NBA basketball. It's always jarring to me to go from the NBA finals to the next basketball you see is Summer League.
Yeah.
Like talking about dropping down. Summer League is still a blast, but dropping down like multiple levels in terms of quality of basketball that you're watching, it is jarring.
Yeah. I'm excited to see Carr play.
Yeah. Same for sure. Okay. We're going to get into the chat questions and comments in just a moment here. First, I do need to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, and that is Prize Picks. You guys can check them out. Use the link in the description down below. They just sent me this promo. That's what I'm using. They just sent me this. Oh, I shouldn't cut off Joey's head though. No. Shouldn't cut off his head. Okay, we'll go like this. Anyway, I'll put up the lower third in just a minute so you guys can see. But all you got to do is pick more or less. Joey Chestnut, hot dogs eaten. 1. It's a free square set, and we know he's going to do that. You guys can go check him out. Use the link in the description down below. The promo code is HMA. Play $5, get $50 instantly in your lineups over on Prize Picks. Go give them a look. We appreciate them sponsoring the channel. All right.
70 hot dogs is crazy. That was the starter. 71. That's insane.
Somebody said betting on hot dogs eaten. Well, you're not really doing that there. That's a free square on that one. Yeah. And then it's whatever you want to combine, whether it's a World Cup thing or Messi, I think he's going to score a goal. I'm going to go with that. By the way, Team USA plays in a few hours here. USA look at advance out of the round of 32. Win or go home. We'll see if they can do it. All right. Let's get to some of your questions, your comments. We appreciate all the super chats that have been coming in. Javante Green, Matisse Thybulle, Ochai Agbaji, Josh Koji to LA, please. Yeah, those are all along the lines of those guys that you want to add.
How many of those guys is JJ actually playing?
I mean, I don't know if he has a choice. They don't. I mean, otherwise, it's who do you put at the wing?
You're just going to have to play the two young guys.
The two young guys a lot, I guess. I mean, Mamukashvili's going to have to be the starting 4, I suppose. Yeah. And Grimes is like you're asking Mamukashvili to maybe play a little bit out of position at the 4, and Grimes to play a little bit out of position at the 3. That's not a great starting 5 where 2 guys have to play out of position.
Yeah. Well, is Grimes really out of position? Probably not. I get your point, but not really. As the point you always make is that Luka is going to be guarding on the wing.
True.
So not really, but yeah, Mamu is a bit out of position.
It's a fair point. Like Luka is really more of a wing, and Grimes would be guarding. It's about who you're defending.
And last year, Grimes played 43% of his minutes at small forward.
Okay.
And if you look at his year over year, he basically plays all 3 of those positions a good bit. Like sometimes he's tasked with being point guard. In fact, he plays 2 and 3 more often than he plays point guard. But yeah, he can play those positions.
It's very similar to Cameron Carr, who is 6'4", almost 6'5", like Grimes, but has the long wingspan that allows him to play up a spot. Where that's why I have him slotted in as a 2-3. We should probably view Grimes in a similar way.
Yeah, and I saw a chat say Mamu is a 4. He's similarly sized to the previous guys that we just lost, so I guess you can make it work.
Yeah, I mean,
and if we can,
he's a 4 or a 5.
Yeah, he's a small ball 5-4, but he's 6'9", 240, or something like that. You may have concerns about lateral quickness with these guys.
I do,
but you kind of had that concern last season too, so it's kind of is what it is.
Right. Jake Fisher just said that signing Walker Kessler was a bigger priority for the Lakers than re-signing LeBron James. I mean, yeah, I think that's
and water is wet.
Yeah, that was the way they went. Because Jeannie had her 5-year governor deal. Clearly, Mark didn't interfere. I think now Mark will start building a new front office. Last hurrah for Jeannie, Rob, and the Rambi. Potentially, we'll see how all of this goes. That will not look. We now know that the Lakers roster as is, it's going to be. This is Rob Pelinka's team right now. This is his stamp on this team. This is not, hey, LeBron wanted this guy or LeBron wanted that guy. Nope, there's none of that anymore. This is the team that Rob Pelinka chose, for better or worse. And we'll see. He'll either get the credit if it's great, he'll get the blame if it's not.
You also have to throw Luka in there because I'm sure they were in constant communication.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, absolutely. And that's like Grimes, obviously, is a target for Luka.
Well,
but Rob has to know with new ownership in the spotlight, the magnifying glass, let's say, is especially going to be on him.
Well, I say that because with LeBron, the magnifying glass is never on anybody but LeBron.
True.
So, like
even the Westbrook trade, a lot of people try to put that on LeBron.
Yeah,
there's plenty of blame to go around.
It's not about blame or credit. It's about the fact that these things are done in tandem, and like you said, the perception of it all.
Mm-hmm.
Luka's not. His hands aren't off this. If this crashes and burns, that's not like he was constantly in this. But if it's successful, similarly, his hands aren't off it. He was a big part of it. So,
if you were a player, would you want to have a hand in the signings, or would you want to be able to just say plausible deniability? I had no say in any of this. They do their job. I stay out of it. More of kind of like a Jokic style.
You could have your hand in it and then go to the media and say you had no part of it.
And say you had no. And say you didn't do anything. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
The New York Knicks landing Kevon Looney.
Oh, okay.
So there's their replacement.
Yep.
Very, very good rebounder, Kevon Looney. That's according to Jake Fisher. They're expected to land Kevon Looney to replace Mitch Robinson. So there's the answer. Andre Drummond scared them away with his pay cut comments.
I was like, I don't know what that is, but okay. Is $5 million is a cut? How much? $1 million?
Yeah. Might not be the solution, but could be a good problem to have if we can find a way to get Jonathan Kuminga. Thoughts? I think he doesn't. I think he does not check the boxes of what they need right now. But if they're just trying to find talent, okay, you could do a lot worse, especially if we're talking about having like $7 million or so to spend or something like that. And Donnie had to drop out for just a moment. Adu Thero and Cameron Carr's development is now crucial. Absolutely. I have high hopes for both of them, and if they hit, it changes everything with their potential. It's now. I look at it this way: ideally, both of them pop this season and give you something, but you need minimum of one of them. At least one of them working out is a necessity this season, with the way the roster currently is. Rob stinks. We could have had Oubre for less than we paid Sexton. I'd rather overpay Kessler. That's one of the issues that I've got. I would have preferred Oubre as well. And I like Colin Sexton's game. I just think in terms of fit on this team and keep picks to get a wing. Had high hopes for the new owner. You went all in on Walker Kessler. Obviously, they need to figure some stuff out on the wing, but I'm in agreement, especially when I see the salaries out there. Like, Would you rather have Marcus Smart for a cheaper price? And now, was Marcus willing to come back to the Lakers? I don't know. Were they so determined to skew younger that they decided they didn't want to do that? I don't know, but Marcus Smart would make a hell of a lot of sense on this team right now, and it's unfortunate that they, especially at the price tag, that they weren't able to bring him back. Madness. This is Pelinka with player options. Oh, 300. This is Sparta. Kessler, Luka, and Austin, the Vanilla 3 nickname. That the name? We'll see what they come up with. The Lakers overpaid on Mamu and Grimes. Grimes is a 2, not a 3. We have no starting 3 or 4. If we had cap flexibility, we could have signed Rui and Oubre, replacing Sexton with Smart with the same money. I'll be fine. Jazz believe team option. Yeah. I too look at this roster and think, man, this roster makes a lot more sense with Marcus Smart on it than they do right now. But perhaps the word was simply that they had to be younger, and they are so much younger right now that Austin Reeves is the oldest player on the team. How about that? Austin Reeves is the oldest player on the Lakers right now. That's pretty crazy. All right, Rob, time to throw that player option at Jonathan Kuminga. I mean, at this point, if the Lakers sign anybody, if you sign with the Lakers and you don't get a player option, people are going to be looking at you like, what's wrong with you? They just pass those things out like crazy. Why would you not take a player option? The Miami Heat, according to Jake Fisher, remain in the mix for LeBron James, Chris Middleton, Bradley Beal, and Anthony Simons. Apparently, he's talking on Bleacher Report. If we don't make the playoffs, Rob needs to get fired. I think he will. I think that's this summer. He's been pointing to the summer of 2026 forever as his time to really build out this roster and build it the way that he wants and build the team around Luka. This is the roster that he came back with, and if it doesn't work out, you have a new ownership in place. New ownership typically means their own decision makers coming in. So I could very easily see a situation where if this does not go well and the trade deadline doesn't go well, Rob Pelinka could wind up on the outs, and Mark Walter could replace him with one of his own people.
Yeah, I think everything with that is all injury dependent also. The thing with that is that you can get to the end of the season and say, well, we weren't healthy this year. Walker played 5 games again, blah, blah, blah. And, you could write it off.
Yeah, I guess, but
I would imagine he still makes moves, though.
Yeah. Poor Trev almost had a stroke with the amount of player options. LOL. Rob doesn't believe in team options. Not every contract needs a player option. I was losing my mind when the player options kept coming through. Donnie, I just had that rant the other day. I posted on Instagram at Trevor Lane NBA about how the Lakers need to stop with all these player-friendly deals, that it's significantly holding them back, that you look at other teams around the NBA that are good. Why are they good? In part because they've got extra flexibility, because they have players on contracts that are below market value. And the Lakers continue to be very player-friendly. I think the Austin Reeves deal was very player-friendly. I think every contract they agreed to today was very player-friendly. And they keep passing out these player options and being hamstrung by those. Jared Vanderbilt. Why does Jared Vanderbilt have a player option? There's no reason for that. It's an issue. They're just, you're not seeing those are great market value deals coming from the Lakers, as opposed to, you look what the Rockets did with Marcus Smart. You look what the Suns did with Luke Kennard, with Colin Gillespie, with Jordan Goodwin. Like, all those deals came through and you went, yeah, that's great value for those guys. I don't think anybody around the league saw the deals that the Lakers agreed to. Again, like the players, but I don't think anybody looked at those contracts and said, wow, they really got a great deal there.
Yeah. Does Rob just look at his ledger and get just insane OCD and say, no, everybody's got to be on a player option just because it just doesn't look right? It's like it doesn't look right. He's got the color coding like
can't sleep at night if the color coding. There's too many reds mixed with the green. Spot track cap sheet.
He's like, oh my god, this I can't have this. There has to be a balance of greens only.
Please let me give you a player option.
I beg you, let me give you a player option.
Labrum tear is not a worrisome injury long term. Yeah, I mean, hopefully Walker Kessler is totally healthy next season, and he's all good. If they're hell-bent on letting Pelinka ruin the Laker brand, at least hire a professional negotiator. This guy's not fit to negotiate with a street vendor in Tijuana. Walter, wake up. Like I said, I don't look at any of the contracts they signed and think that was a bargain deal or that's a team-friendly deal for the Lakers. I look at all of them and think, if the player hits, then it's fine. If it doesn't work out, there is very little downside protection in these deals, which is something that's much more common in the NBA today. Teams protecting themselves against the downside of a deal. And the Lakers very much they have no protection against the downside on any of these deals.
Well, this is absolutely the all-in move. Like Rob is staking his job on this move, on all these moves cumulatively.
For sure.
That's what this is. And so if it works out, great. If not, then like you were just saying, he will be removed and they'll find somebody else there. It could be as soon as next summer for what it's worth. Now the team would still be stuck with these deals, blah, 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 if they're bad deals. But I think I prefer to take the optimistic approach and hopefully these players, they're worth that money. This all looks good in future years. It's hard to project out years from now because we don't know what the team will look like in terms of health of these players. Will guys take leaps forward? Will guys regress in big ways? We don't know these things. You can't project that out, which is why you'd like to have that flexibility built in from the team side. But apparently we just have to come to terms with the fact that Rob's only way of negotiating is to give the most and give the player option. So can't really be too mad at that point when you come to that realization.
If these guys work out, it's no problem, right? If these guys all perform up to the level that you hope they will, they're fine. There's just no protection against what if they don't.
Yeah. And I want to make sure that also, like, it's not, those are two different things also. Like there's nothing wrong with being pessimistic, as you put it, about the construction of the roster from a financial standpoint, asset standpoint, as opposed to a player standpoint. You could love all these pickups
100%.
And not agree with the deals that they got, because I think these are the right types of players, targeting the right types of players. But I agree generally with you.
I think Zach LaVine is a fine player. He's a very talented scorer. People think less of him because of his contract. There's two different things. It's the player and the contract. And I know they're intertwined in terms of roster building. That's the bigger question is, can you give out these kind of contracts and build out the roster properly? And have the flexibility you need in the future. You are very locked into these deals right now. Who the F plays the 3 and the 4? Mamu's a stretch 5. And Grimes is a 2. I'd rather have, I'm okay with Grimes being a 2 because defensively Luka's a 3 or a 4. I'd rather have been above the cap and run it back and take back most of their players. Sexton instead of Smart or Oubre. On a side note, Trev, you'll appreciate this from Mamu, the Mama Luke. I like that. Donnie, I almost feel like Rob Pelinka could not help himself. He couldn't help himself. He's okay. I got Walker Kessler. I got that rim protector big. All right, I got a two-way-ish guard in Quentin Grimes. All right, I get a three-point shooting big for our floor spacing. But damn it, I cannot stop my love for undersized combo guards who score as their primary skill set. It knows no bounds. I have to get one of these guys. I can't stop myself. Colin Sexton, come on down, rather than give that money to Marcus Smart or somebody else that defends at a higher level.
Well, Rob saw Cullen in that one summer league game where he's in that stance and slapping the floor, and he's like, "Oh, that guy's a dog." His nickname. His nickname was Young Bull, right? He's out there. He's feisty. He tries real hard on defense, so he's got to be a great defensive player. So that's what it is. Actually, he's far better on offense than he is on defense.
Oh, big time. Yeah, like, he's not he's not a great defensive, but offensively, points per shot attempt in Chicago, 86th percentile this past season. He is very efficient with his shooting, and that's something that I've always appreciated in his game. Not great at the rim, but threes, 89th percentile at his position, shooting the three. 86th percentile in the mid-range, and he's got a bit of wiggle to his game, a bit more shot creation. If you're looking at him as the Luke Kennard replacement, I like Colin Sexton a lot more than I like Luke Kennard, and I like Luke Kennard. I like his fit. Colin Sexton is a better player than Luke Kennard, though.
Yeah, absolutely. From that lens, I love that the comparison between those two, right? But he does try, so at least there's that. It's not like he's just not out there trying and just a complete.
No, he's a better defender than Luke Kennard. It's a low bar, but he's a better defender than Luke Kennard. But I'll say that this is part of the problem here, though, right? When you look at, there needs to be a shift. You look at his percentage of shot attempts, 88th percentile at the rim, whereas the threes way down, right? This is frequency. Look at his accuracy. Bad at the rim. At least with the Bulls it was much, much better with the Hornets. So maybe the Lakers can capitalize on that. But he's getting to the rim a ton, just was not finishing there. Whereas his finishing was, and has been for his career, great from behind the arc.
Yeah. It's a nice pickup. And they just lost probably their two best shooters in franchise history. So definitely two of them.
Yep.
Like literally both those guys were lasers, man.
But Colin Sexton is a guy that can come in and run the offense. He can run the offense. He can score the ball for you.
He can
do some things.
I don't think he'll get clammed up and taken out of the game the way that Houston was able to bottle up Luke after a couple games. Because you could tell Luke wasn't really comfortable doing that anymore.
Right. And that was as soon as they shift their defensive coverages, Luke Kennard went from, oh my God, Luke Kennard is great, to, oh yeah, he's still Luke Kennard, which is not bad. He's fine, but it's just not like he's this, whoa, he's in this new role. Luke Kennard's been unleashed, when he was dropping whatever it was, 22 and 8 or whatever. Mm-hmm. The Nets still have cap space, big trade coming. I wonder if they're a landing spot for Lou Dort. Because somebody's got to absorb that salary. I wonder if the Nets are a landing spot for Lou Dort, especially it fits OKC's MO of sending guys east. I wonder if that's what ends up happening here.
Yeah, potentially. I'm going to have to bow out because my door keeps getting knocked on. So, guys, it's been a pleasure. Trev, I'll see you later. I got to bounce here.
Okay, sounds good.
Right, see you.
All right, everybody. I'll stick around here for a bit and we'll answer a few more questions. If we can play Vando, raise his value purely on defense, maybe we can trade him for something during the season. With this roster, don't need him scoring. Yeah, I mean, even if you did, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get him scoring the ball. That's the weakest part of his game. But he would have to completely ball out to raise his value. With 2 years and $25 million left on his deal, like, I think he would have to not only play extremely well, but he'd have to do it for months on end. Like, we'd have to get all the way up to the trade deadline and to erase any fears that it was just a flash in the pan. I don't realistically see Jared Vanderbilt flipping his value to positive before the trade deadline. If Vando suddenly comes back and is a much improved offensive player and it goes with the defensive hustle and chops that he has, that's a different story. But I'm not holding my breath for that anymore, that he's going to become a better rim finisher, more of a defensible player behind the 3-point line. I'm not holding my breath that happens. I hope it does. If it does, that's phenomenal. But I just don't think it's likely. Clippers lack a center, 8 and a second for Derrick Jones Jr. Yeah, done. I would do that and then go use my minimum to go target Nick Richards or Andre Drummond, the big penguin, or whoever. I would do that. The problem is the Lakers don't even have a second. They got nothing. They have one pick swap. That's it. It's all they have left. F them picks. Mamu can be the backup 5. Okay, I still would want a bigger body to turn to. Drop Vando. Try to squeeze Rui or Kuminga. Thibault on a minimum, best I got. I would, if I could turn Aiden into Derrick Jones Jr., I would happily do that if I was the Lakers. I also think the Clippers would not do anything to help the Lakers. And the Clippers have had a hell of an offseason. I love the Kawhi move that they made. Far be it from me to want to praise the Clippers. Typically, I just want to throw shade on them, dig them deep, bury those roots, all of that. But they've really set themselves up nicely for the future with the amount of draft capital that they've acquired. But I think the Clippers, the only way the Clippers are going to trade with the Lakers is if they're fleecing the Lakers, a la the Zubats trade. That's the only way they're doing it. Is Rob officially a great GM? These are all Lakers questions, aren't they? A great GM. Did he get it done? We'll find out. I think there's still work to be done because you don't have a starting level wing right now. And that's got to change. I know it's not much, but what about Harrison Barnes? He re-signed with the Spurs, so he is staying there. Grant for LA. Which Grant? Jeremy Grant? He's with Memphis. He'd have to get bought out, and I'm not expecting that, especially with another year under contract. And the Lakers aren't going to trade for him. He's got way too much money on the books. KCP will be bought out. If KCP is bought out, I guess you kind of kick the tires, but I'm not optimistic that KCP, with the seasons that he's been having, is going to come in and reclaim the form that he had the last time he was in LA. Have you seen what Stephen A. Smith said on Twitter about the Lakers' big three? No, I haven't. I don't have notifications. Shocker. I know. I don't have notifications turned on for Stephen A. Smith. So I've not seen what he said. I would imagine whatever he said, though, is a very calm, very rational, and very reasonable analysis of the Lakers and their roster and their situation. LA Caucasian power is over 9,000. Just I don't care what skin color a guy has. Just tell me they can play basketball. Just play basketball well. I'm concerned with the with this team makeup right now. But yeah. But yes, the Lakers do seem to be leaning into certain players. Utah's got to be looking at them going, "What the hell? That's our bit. What are you guys doing?" Would you waive and stretch Vando for Jonathan Kuminga? Yeah, I would. I would waive and stretch Vando for Jonathan. And I don't even think Jonathan Kuminga is a great fit for what the Lakers need. But right now, you're gambling on upside because why not? Like, he's not a great defensive player, but whatever. Like at this point, your defense is not going to be good anyway. I would do that just to gamble on the upside and see if it works out. That's all. Lakers should have called Moneyball. Where's Jonah? Jonah Hill, right? What's the meme? Like, Rob, this is Marcus Smart. His one flaw is that he plays too hard. Trevor, love the show. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. How do you feel about Chris Middleton as a starting small forward? You should be able to get him on a minimum. I don't think he's a starting caliber player anymore, not at his age and with his injury history. I don't think you can start him in the NBA right now. Not if you're a serious team. If he was a reserve behind some other guys and he has to come in and play 10, 15 minutes a night, okay, in a very truncated role, but that's not what we're talking about here. This new team is like bland chicken. Looks like too white. It needs some seasoning that has gone with the loss of LeBron and Marcus. Luka's a dog, but is he that? Do they have that kind of grit, grind, toughness to them? I think that's a fair question. We'll find out. Marcus Smart certainly helps a lot in that regard. Marcus Smart definitely helps a lot. Is this the kind of team that if they get punched, they're going to fight back? And sometimes that's something that can be learned. Sometimes it's not. Like I think of Pau Gasol, who got bullied by the Boston Celtics in 2008 and then came back the next season determined to never be bullied again. And he came back way more physical, bulked up muscle-wise, and then was able to exact revenge on the Boston Celtics in 2010. So are they the kind of team, though, that is going to have that mentality, even if they do get pushed around a little bit? Are they going to fire back? I think it's a fair question with this group. And we won't know until they get out there on the floor, but losing Marcus Smart doesn't help in that regard. That's where you need your like a Markieff Morris from back in the day, or someone along those lines. What veteran minimum guys do you think you have a real chance at? I think that a guy like Matisse Thybulle would make a lot of sense. He's not a starting level player, but I think Matisse Thybulle, skill set wise, would make sense. Josh Okogie, that's another one to potentially look at. There's a few other guys out there, but I think your best shot at getting somebody who's going to start would be trying to waive and stretch Vando and using the extra flexibility to add somebody. Zaire Williams, yes, that's the one I was forgetting. My brain is a little mush at this point. This is like, I don't know, the 5th hour, 6th hour live just today. I have to say this, stop complaining about player options. The taxes in California are probably the reasons for player options, so they can't recoup salary. It's a fair point about the taxes in California. Not something that we consider a lot. If you're going to Texas or Florida, you don't deal with the state taxes, so the California taxes can be a challenge for a player, especially when you're making that much money. It makes a big, big difference. As far as stop complaining about the player options, no. I mean, the reality is when you look at other teams around the NBA that are able to make moves, that are able to do moves that don't include those, it's a hindrance when you have those on your books, because it's rare where you have a situation like with DeAndre Ayton, where if he picked up the option, you're okay with it. And if he declines the option, you're okay with it. Either way, you would have been fine with it. That's the way I looked at DA, but that's very rare. In most cases, like look at with Marcus Smart. I would have loved if Smart picked up that player option, but he didn't, because it wasn't in his best interest to do it. If Marcus Smart had spent the whole season injured, though, he would have picked it up in a heartbeat, right? That's the downside with play. Would the Lakers love if right now Jared Vanderbilt did not have a player option on that final year, or that if that was a team option instead? Yep, he would be way more tradable right now as an expiring contract with a team option instead of a player option. These are things that very much matter if it's the player in a position where they can stick the team with a bad contract for another year. And it's great for the player. Don't get me wrong. These are wonderful for the players to have, but I tend to look at things through the team perspective. Can we pick up Zaire Williams with a veteran minimum? He's the kind of guy that I would gamble on. Sure, for a veteran minimum, why not? Especially veteran minimum is very easy when you're nowhere near the hard cap that you could potentially trigger at the first apron, which isn't even triggered right now, as I recall. The second apron is triggered as a hard cap. But let's say you pick up somebody with a veteran minimum and it doesn't work. Okay, you just waive them and you pick up somebody else with a veteran minimum. And it's not my money. It's just money, though. It's not going to make it more difficult to build out your roster. Very, very easy to move on from a veteran minimum salary. Thoughts on Luka, Grimes, Laravia, Adu, Kessler? Assuming Laravia and Adu shoot over 37% from three. I think that's a big assumption because both guys would need to improve as three-point shooters. Same with Austin, the lineup, instead of Luka. Yeah, that probably gives you the most amount of defense and versatility out there on the floor, with, again, the shooting being the big question. Do you guys think the Jalen Duren situation will be like Jonathan Kuminga, where they wait until they're able to sign, but as a tradable contract? I think the Pistons want him back, and the question's going to be, like, if I'm Sacramento right now, I'm looking at the Lakers, and I'm like, seriously? Because now, the Detroit Pistons, if they're going to trade Kuminga or Duren, they're going to want everything the Lakers gave up and maybe more for Jalen Duren. They're going to be like, hey, Sacramento, the Lakers just gave up 2 unprotected picks plus pick swaps, and our guy that you want made third team All-NBA, made an All-Star. Yeah. Back up the Brinks truck. Come on, let's get a bunch of picks here if we're going to do something like this. And the Kings will say, but Domantas Sabonis, if the Kings can get it done without surrendering draft capital, great. I just don't see it with Domantas Sabonis being the primary backing of the deal. Too much negativity, Trev. I'm okay with their signings. It's about building. Let's go, Lake Show. I'm not, again, I'm just giving you my honest opinion on what they've done. If I were an outsider looking at the Lakers situation, I would say I don't love the value of the contracts. That's what we'll probably talk about on the front office show tonight. I don't love the value of the contracts. I like the players all individually in a vacuum, and I have questions about how they're all going to fit. And we'll see. and they add a wing or two, and I like the fit a lot more. So we'll see. I don't think they're done. If they bring in Zaire Williams, does that change your outlook any? Yeah, sure. I mean, any wing that you bring in would be helpful. Zaire Williams doesn't make me think, oh, okay, cool. Now they've got a starting level wing, but it's a step in the right direction. Any wings that they bring in right now would be a plus for them. Any, wing with any kind of real upside. Trade or cut Bronny. I could see them just keeping him. It's only $2.3 million. If you need a roster spot, if you have a bunch of wings that say, hey, we're going to get Zaire Williams, we're going to get Josh Okogie, we're going to get all these, okay, maybe you waive him. But I guess you could trade him to whatever team LeBron signs with. But I think there's also a world where, independent of LeBron, they just keep him. He's made significant progress. He is closer to being a rotation player now than he was 2 years ago when he first came to the Lakers. And he's seriously grown. So there's also a world where they just hang on to him. Is it just me, or would LeBron be the perfect fit? No, it's not just you. There is a giant hole on this roster exactly where LeBron would go. DA for Zaire, sign and trade, and sign Richards. It's interesting. I mean, are you signing and trading Zaire to a minimum contract? I mean, why not just trade DA into the cap space of the Nets and then go from there? And then you sign Nick Richards with, I guess, a minimum. I like DA considerably more than Nick Richards, to be clear. I don't know that I would do that. Zaire Williams is okay. He's all right. But there's a reason why the Nets cut him as well. No draft picks, no tradable contracts, no future. Depends on how these players hit. That's for sure. How would DeMar DeRozan fit if he's bought out from the Kings, trying anything at this point? Not great. You need athletic defensive players that have lateral quickness. That's not DeMar DeRozan. It's being widely reported that LeBron is willing to take a minimum. As a Lakers fan, that upsets me. Why couldn't he give the Lakers that? I get the frustration there. I do. Like, that's the whole, LeBron will listen to any offer. He'll even consider the minimum. We talked a lot about that wasn't reality while he was with the Lakers, and now suddenly he's willing to do that. Like, if he was willing to do that with the Lakers right now, they'd be a significantly better team. He could do that for them right now, and they'd be very good. But that apparently is not the direction he wants to go. And I know there's a long history there and a lot of stuff wrapped up in that. And maybe he feels like they tried to push him out the door, and all those things certainly matter. I'm not trying to put the blame on LeBron or on the Lakers. I think it's just most likely the situation has just run its course. And in order to build the team around Luka, maybe they decided they need to move on from LeBron. Maybe that's what it is. And maybe LeBron has decided that, he was on a team where he was not the most important player on the team, and that's an unfamiliar feeling for him. And he was on a team that asked him to play a different role, and he was the good soldier and did what he needed to do there. But maybe that was enough for him to decide, you know what, let's move on and let's go somewhere else. Again, ironically, he'd be a great fit on the Lakers right now. But I get the frustration, though, saying, why is he suddenly willing to do for another team when he was never willing to do for the Lakers? I also think it's different, though, when he's 41, going into his year 42 season, and this could be it for him, really it. Like, I think there's an increased importance on being in a spot where he can win. And did he know the Lakers were going to go for all players in their mid-20s and say, you're building something, but I don't know that I can win with that group? Lakers hard capped the first apron because of the sign and trade. That's right. Again, I thank you for the clarification. My brain is a little mush at this point. You're absolutely correct. Because they accepted a player via sign and trade, they are hard capped at the first apron. Fortunately, they are nowhere near that first apron. And so they've got plenty of time or plenty of space to, in fact, I'm just looking, double check right now. The spot track projections, are they updated? Are they not? But right now they've got them, well below. that first apron. Even once you add that, let me see with the pending roster. Yeah, 17. We were talking about it earlier, 17.5 million below the first apron. So not a worry, not a concern. Universal Mind, I applaud you, Trevor, and everything you do to keep us informed. For me, it started during the pandemic, and you were nonstop with content. Salute to you. Well, thank you, guys. I appreciate that. This is very much a labor of love. It's a passion. It's something I really, really enjoy doing, and very grateful and thankful that this is something that I get to do on a daily basis. So this is a wild and wonderful league with no shortage of amazing and very, very interesting things happening at all times. And so thankful. Those of you who have joined me over here at the Basketball Bulletin as we break down everything around the NBA. I know it's a lot of Lakers questions that were coming in, but really do talk about all the teams around the league. So appreciate all of you that joined me here. All right, everybody. I am going to mercifully try to get a little bit of rest here. Keith Smith and I will go live tonight late after all the kind of dust has settled. Here we go. One more super chat came in. Lake Tradamus prediction, 2027 playoffs. We'll be talking about the Lakers' perimeter defense as a big concern. Yeah, I mean, based on the roster right now, I would say perimeter defense is a concern. That's fair. All right, everybody. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for being here. Till next time. See ya and stay safe.